From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight from Washington, Ted Koppel.
Good evening. Pity the crew of the new Space Shuttle Discovery. Twice now, gremlins have struck and scheduled launches have been scrubbed. Now, with Discovery set for liftoff tomorrow morning, there's a new problem, and it could, as Lynn Sherr reports, delay that mission yet again.
Computer experts here at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida will continue to meet throughout the evening to try to solve what they are calling a potential problem. It involves a timing discrepancy between Discovery's 5 onboard computers and the Master Events Controller. That's the one that gives the commands during launch. NASA doesn't yet understand if there is a problem, but if they can't track it down by midnight, they will not launch Discovery on this, their third try.
The first time they tried to launch Discovery, one of the onboard computers failed, scrubbing the liftoff with only 9 minutes to go.
Launch Director Bob Seek has made the decision we will scrub for the day. We do not feel confident in proceeding with the launch.
A day later, NASA tried again, this time proceeding through a trouble-free countdown until this stunning announcement with 4 seconds to go.
5. We have main engine start. We have a cutoff.
The unprecedented shutdown of the shuttle engines after ignition was followed by 38 tense minutes as fire broke out at the base of the rocket ship and was quickly extinguished, and the 6 crew members emerged from the hatch. NASA later said contamination in an engine valve caused the extraordinary abort, and the valves will be tested before tomorrow's launch with 4 minutes to go. The failure set the shuttle program back 2 months as Discovery was rolled back into the shop. There, its cargo was combined with that of the next planned mission, giving this maiden voyage of Discovery the heaviest payload yet of any shuttle. It includes 3 satellites, one designed specifically to be launched by the shuttle. It will be ejected in a flat spinning motion like a frisbee. 2 other communication satellites will be deployed using upper stage rockets similar to those that misfired earlier this year. It is those failures, coupled with the problems that kept Discovery earthbound in June, that have put the commercial viability of the entire shuttle program in jeopardy. NASA says the satellite problem has been corrected, and it needs an on-time, on-target launch for Discovery and the entire cargo to keep on track. Today, shuttle commander Henry Hartsfield and pilot Mike Coates looked confident as they got in some last-minute flying time. Their bosses also shrugged off any increased pressure from the shuttle's clients.
I would not put it in that kind of a binary situation where if there are some problems with tomorrow's launch, that all the customers are going to bail off the shuttle. I just frankly do not believe that.
And to keep NASA's priorities straight, he also said they won't take any undue risks just to get off the pad. Lynn Sherr, ABC News at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida.
One of the problems NASA is facing is that although this is only the 12th space shuttle mission, the time for a lot of testing has passed. The customers who want to use the shuttle as it was intended to be used want to get their satellites into space. They have neither the time nor the money for the unsuccessful launches. And as Greg Dobbs reports from France, there is at least one other option.
Compared to the super sophisticated space shuttle, Europe's Ariane rocket is a technological dinosaur. But in the key commercial task of placing telecommunications satellites into orbit, this dinosaur so far has been devouring its competition. For while the shuttles had satellites go haywire and missions postponed, Ariane's 2 commercial launches to date have been flawless. By 21 minutes into each flight, 3 different satellites were separated and on their way into orbit, and Ariane itself was on its way into the sea. Ariane is designed only to launch satellites directly into orbit, something NASA cannot claim when courting customers for the multi-purpose space shuttle. The competition from Ariane, though, has made NASA more aggressive in trying to sell space on the shuttle, even here in Paris, the heart of Ariane's territory.
We're searching through to find out first flight availability.
Ariane, which is now privately run, offers the typical satellite customer a launch for $25 million. That covers costs. NASA comes in currently about $10 million cheaper because the shuttle still is subsidized. But those prices are scheduled to rise as the American taxpayer stops carrying the shuttle's costs.
So far, Europe's David has been beating the American Goliath. But each launcher has its advantages and its drawbacks. And with several hundred telecommunications satellites projected for launch before the end of this century, salesmen for both systems, Ariane and the Space Shuttle, agree that there's enough business for both. Greg Dobbs, ABC News, Évry, France.
And this reminder, if all goes well with the shuttle, ABC News will carry tomorrow morning's launch of Discovery live, beginning at about 8:30 Eastern Time during Good Morning America. Later in this broadcast, Walter Mondale wins the endorsement of a former Republican. Does religious freedom also mean freedom to deny medical treatment? And in Georgia, they're importing teachers from overseas.
This is World News Tonight, brought to you by Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Want to build a super day? Then start with the one great taste that makes a super bowl of cereal. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Just think of crispy golden flakes.
Delicious, crunchy flakes of corn.
So pure and simple, just can't wait.
Low in sugar, loaded with vitamins and iron.
So good for you, don't hesitate.
For a super bowl of our most nutritious corn flakes ever.
What a super bowl. Have yourself a super bowl. Kellogg's Corn Flakes. Super taste, super good. Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Introducing Almost Home cookies from Nabisco, the cookies that taste almost homemade.
Oh, they're terrific. They taste almost homemade, but a chocolate chip cookie that's moist and this chewy deserves a name better than almost home. I'll think of a name.
I haven't had a chocolate chip cookie this moist and chewy since I was a kid.
Yeah, but what kind of a name is almost home?
Almost Home cookies in more varieties than maybe even Mom baked.
Nabisco. I've got it. Majestic Interlude. Oh,
that's good, man.
Walter Mondale got some help today from a former Republican congressman and more recently the independent candidate for president, John Anderson. As Britt Hume reports, in terms of votes, today's endorsement may not mean much, but at this point, anything helps.
If John Anderson never does anything else for the Democratic ticket, he helped turn out, despite jungle heat, one of the biggest crowds Walter Mondale has seen all year, 10,000 strong. Never mind that the University of Illinois is Anderson's alma mater.
Fellow Illini!
Never mind that he seemed almost as interested today in promoting his own new political party as Mondale's candidacy. Anderson will be chairman of Independents for Mondale and will travel the country at the Mondale campaign's expense to help the Democrats.
To those of you who walked with me in 1980, and many of you did, to those who have walked with me in the development of our new National Unity Party, I'm asking you today with all of the urgency that I can summon that you walk with me now in support of the Mondale-Ferraro ticket.
Anderson specifically praised Mondale's stands on deficit reduction and disarmament, but much of what he said was more anti-Reagan than pro-Mondale. Mondale, though, among the least egotistical of politicians, was unfazed, apparently delighted just to have Anderson, along with Gary Hart, pledge to help him win over independent voters.
I once had John Anderson on the other side of me in a campaign. That's one of the reasons I'm in private life.
The Mondale camp does not expect Anderson's support to bring any more than what they call some benefit. But they note that in 1980, Anderson ran best in New England and the Far West, where Mondale has yet to win a single contest this year, and where a similar showing this fall could virtually doom Mondale's chances of overtaking President Reagan. Britt Hume, ABC News, with the Mondale campaign in Champaign, Illinois.
In the race for the Democratic nomination, Jesse Jackson certainly proved that he could get out a substantial black vote, more than many people thought. Walter Mondale needs that support this November. He doesn't have it yet. But ABC's James Wooten explains how that could change.
But I will be proud to support the nominee of this convention for the President of the United States of America.
By this point, it was clear that minority voters would hold the key to Walter Mondale's future.
That was the feeling that we left San Francisco last week empty-handed.
But Jackson's been no help at all. And even Andrew Young, a Mondale man all year, has been sniping at the Mondale campaign.
They won't listen to me. They smart-ass white boys that think they know it all.
And that little barb, more than anything else, brought this cadre of black leaders to Mondale's Minnesota headquarters tonight. A gathering that could well determine the strength of the Democratic campaign this year.
Because some people have not been contacted since the convention, there was a feeling that maybe they were not wanted to be involved in the campaign further.
What blacks want from Mondale is increased visibility in his campaign, heightened sensitivity to black issues, and some assurance that should he win, blacks will occupy positions of influence in his administration. What Mondale wants from blacks is this.
It's our job to get out a big vote, and a big vote will give Walter Mondale a very good chance of being the President of the United States.
Not long ago, when he was a little irritated with some of the Reverend Jackson's comments, Walter Mondale said he supposed he'd have to win this thing all by himself. Well, of all candidates, he ought to know he can't do that. Cannot win without the support of American black people, that traditional Democratic constituency. And he does know that, which is precisely why there's a big meeting tonight up in Minnesota. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Washington.
President Reagan is spending the rest of this week here in Washington before getting back onto the campaign trail next week. Today in the Rose Garden, Mr. Reagan gave out medals to two teenagers whom he called the bravest of the brave. Brian Gill of Atkinson, Nebraska was 12 when he rescued his younger sister from a fire at their home. James Morris of Eagle Point, Oregon was 17 when he pulled a helpless driver from an overturned car just moments before it burst into flames. The president said, "We can only wonder how, at such a tender age, they managed to develop such great strength of character." In a moment, an Indiana trial drawing the line between religious freedom and reckless homicide.
This is the pain-relieving medicine for which doctors have written 100 million prescriptions. And now you can get it in a new non-prescription strength. Bristol Myers introduces Nuprin. One tablet has the strength to relieve most minor aches and pains. Nuprin contains ibuprofen. It's a medicine totally different than aspirin or the ingredient in Tylenol. If you've had a serious problem taking aspirin, before taking Nuprin, ask your doctor. The medicine in new Nuprin, it's over 100 million prescriptions strong.
It's just like TV. Kids are having a great time.
Weren't the traveler's checks in here? They're gone.
This is the best vacation.
Kathy, stay with the kids.
Wow, Dad's going to the sheriff. Uh-oh, are we in trouble?
Check for American Express. Right, American Express. Honey, there's a refund place in the next town.
American Express has nearly 1,000 travel service offices to help you. Don't leave home without them.
We're not in trouble.
This is no ordinary cotton swab. This is a 100% cotton Q-Tips cotton swab. With more cotton at the tip than just any swab. See? 50% more. So the safety cushion is thicker, soft, and safe. You just can't get a softer, safer swab than all cotton, more cotton Q-Tips brand cotton swabs. Because a swab by any other name is not the same.
Two members of a fundamentalist religious sect were found guilty today in Columbia City, Indiana, of child neglect and reckless homicide in the death of their infant son. The couple's defense, the only one to be offered at the brief trial, their religious convictions. ABC's Joe Spencer was in Columbia City.
The body of Joel David Hall lies here in an unmarked grave, the victim of pneumonia when he was just 1 month old. The county coroner says $3 worth of medicine could have saved his life, but Joel's parents, Gary and Margaret Hall, who declined to be interviewed, withheld medical treatment because of their religious convictions. They were charged with reckless homicide and child neglect for practicing what the Faith Assembly Church preaches, that modern medicine is a tool of the devil and seeking a doctor's care is a sin.
It's a very secretive group of people who shun the media and shun the, quote, outside world.
Faith Assembly, a fundamentalist Christian sect with 2,000 members in northern Indiana and 20,000 worldwide, relies on faith healing. But a recent federal health study found the death rate for Faith Assembly infants nearly 3 times higher than the state norm. For Faith Assembly mothers who deliver at home without a doctor, the risk of death is 90 times higher.
And to me, that's murder. I know that sounds like a very, very strong term, but what else can you call it?
In court today, prosecutor John Whiteleather called Joel Hall's death morally senseless, saying the child's parents were free to practice their religion, but not free to deny the sick child's right to medical treatment. The Halls refused to use their court-appointed attorney. They spoke briefly, reaffirming their faith in God, saying Jesus Christ was their lawyer. But after deliberating just 2 hours, the jury found them guilty of both counts. The Halls could each receive a maximum of 12 years in prison and a $2,000 fine. This marks the first time in Indiana history that people were put on trial for following their religious beliefs. And many prosecutors believe this case could lead to additional charges against other members of Faith Assembly Church. Joe Spencer, ABC News, Columbia City, Indiana.
Dozens of forest fires are raging out of control tonight across the state of Montana. The fires have destroyed more than 30 homes and forced hundreds of people to be evacuated. More now from ABC's Ken Kashiwahara.
From one end of Montana to the other, at least 15 separate range and timber fires are burning out of control. Fires which have already consumed an estimated 100,000 acres of range and timberland.
Well, it doesn't take long to assess it. I mean, the state's on fire.
By far, the largest fires are near Billings. Winds up to 70 miles an hour have spread the flames faster than firefighters can keep up with them. So the top priority now is to protect homes and buildings that are threatened. Hundreds of residents throughout the state have been evacuated. Some of those who were came back today to find their homes totally destroyed. Lyle Odegaard says he and his family got out just in time yesterday and says he will now move somewhere else. But Barry Clark, whose house was also burned down, says he will stay.
It ain't so much the material things or anything like that. It's just all the work that a guy puts into a place and go up in smoke.
10 miles north of the state capital of Helena, 3 separate fires have consumed 18,000 acres. But today, firefighters got their first bit of good news. Over the next few days, the weather forecast looks promising. These high winds that have fanned the flames and plagued the firefighters are expected to die down beginning tonight. Ken Kashiwahara, ABC News, near Helena, Montana.
In a moment, putting an accent on math and science.
Making copies is a lot like breeding thoroughbreds. Start with a good line and you'll produce winners. Like Canon's line of personal copiers with interchangeable cartridges, so I can copy in more colors than ever before. 6. The new PC-25 even reduces and enlarges and makes copies up to legal size. Canon's PC-10, 20, and new 25. Ooh, I love it when I pick a winner. For information, call toll-free.
In the West, where Levi Strauss & Company began, how your clothes feel has always been just as important as how they look. That's why Levi's Action Slacks have an easy care fabric that gives, plus a waistband that moves with you. It's a feeling of comfort that's capturing more men every day. Levi's Action Slacks. A real comfort from Levi's Menswear.
If you use antacids that don't seem to work well enough for you or fast enough for you, maybe they're not strong enough for you. But today, there's double-strength Mylanta 2, the antacid that concentrates nearly twice the medication for nearly twice the acid-neutralizing power of any leading brand. So when you need an antacid, try one that's strong enough for you. Double-strength Mylanta 2, concentrated with nearly twice the antacid medicine from the makers of Mylanta.
Hey, everybody, it's Uncle Joe.
We all like to spend the weekends with family and friends. That's why AT&T saves you 60% on long distance every weekend, and they don't stop with savings. They give you service, too. Calling from anywhere to anywhere. Operator service, calls that sound as close as you feel, and 60% off. Joe, knew you'd make it somehow. Savings and service. That's AT&T. The more you hear, the better we sound.
Reach out and touch someone.
Kids are already back at school in some states, but nearly 70,000 students in Illinois, Michigan, Louisiana, and Pennsylvania are getting extended summer vacations because their teachers are on strike. The situation is likely to get worse next week as most school districts reopen for the fall. A private study group on education today recommended major changes in the way we train our teachers. The National Center for Education Information recommends, among other steps, a national proficiency exam for new teachers. One area in particular where educators see a need for improving is in training and keeping math and science teachers. Higher salaries in private industry lure many of the best teachers out of the classroom. In Georgia, education officials have come up with a novel way to fill the void. ABC's Jay Shadler reports.
Smith, Jeff, Charlton, Douglas, Smallwood, Donnie.
Roll call on this first day back to school at Cherokee High had a distinctly European flavor to it, thanks to the new teacher with that unpronounceable name.
Köhler. Why that's so difficult? Say Kohler.
As the newest member of the math department here, Andreas Kohler's undeniably unique. But in Georgia, he's not alone. Just 2 weeks ago, Andreas and 7 other German nationals, all holding the equivalent of master's degrees, came through U.S. Customs in Atlanta on their way to bridging a teacher shortage here.
In the United States and in our state here in Georgia, we're just not preparing enough math and science teachers to meet the needs of local school systems.
In fact, in the last 5 years, roughly 25,000 Georgia teachers have abandoned the classroom for the higher wages and the greater prestige of private industry. So to ease the shortage, Georgia educators interviewed dozens of teachers in Germany, where the problem's not one of scarcity, but overabundance. And despite reservations about hiring foreign teachers, even this state's largest teachers union admits it's all a matter of economics.
Dollars. I can go out to another area and make more money and not have to put up with, quote, the hassle that teachers put up with.
And I will explain how to use the microscope.
So the Germans, eager to teach, were granted work visas and placed in 5 largely rural school districts. Welcome to American Student Culture 101.
My hobbies are generally just hanging around the house. When I'm not working, clean up the car.
Clearly, just getting to know each other may be half the battle here. The other half, at least for the students, will be getting to know the rules.
I want to tell everybody every morning to say good morning, to keep low, sit on the chair, and things like this.
I think he'll have a firm hand. I think he'll expect the students to be disciplined. He'll insist on good discipline, and we will support him.
Are you a good teacher?
I can't say this. You have to ask the kids and the other teachers.
But most of Cherokee High seems to be reserving judgment. Still, first impressions are hard to resist.
He's hard to understand, but if we listen close enough, I think we'll be all right.
I think we'll learn a lot more than math.
I'm not sure what to expect. Hopefully the best.
Andreas Kohler's expectations are pretty high, too.
I have to find some kids who listen to me and to whom I can teach some math. That's why I'm here.
Jay Shadler, ABC News, Canton, Georgia.
A one-time reporter for the Wall Street Journal and 2 associates were indicted today on charges of conspiracy and fraud. R. Foster Winans, who used to write the Journal's Heard on the Street column, was charged with taking $31,000 in illegal payoffs for leaking items from his future columns to his associates, who were then able to reap quick profits on the stock market. The nation's 2 largest automakers are playing hardball in contract negotiations with the United Auto Workers. With tonight's Money Matters, here's our economics editor, Dan Kortz.
In spite of record-breaking profits, both General Motors and Ford took a hard line today in their first public contract proposals. Ford offered no wage increase, no promises of job security, and no improvement in its profit-sharing program. GM proposed only a lump sum payment of $600 per employee in the first year of a new pact and $300 in the second.
Quite frankly, we're not pleased with the proposal, but we're smart enough to realize it's just a proposal, and we hope they realize that as well.
Since the talks began a month ago, the UAW has demanded a boost of at least $3 an hour in base pay to about $12.65. And to pressure the companies on what it labels its #1 goal, job security, the UAW launched an unusual television advertising campaign.
The United Auto Workers Union says enough. That's why we're bargaining to keep America's jobs and economic strength at home. Because of the UAW, we know America's future depends on American jobs.
If the bargainers can't bridge the wide gap between them before the present contract expires September 14th, the union is expected to strike one of the companies. The target may be announced tomorrow. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average struggled to a small gain today in another session of lackluster trading. That's Money Matters for Tuesday. I'm Dan Kortz.
In a moment, baseball fans see the light in Chicago. Or will they?
Incredible. In laboratory tests, a liquid antacid that neutralizes acid in less than 10 seconds. Meet Riopan Plus, sodium-free. In laboratory tests, it neutralizes acid in less than 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And it's sodium-free. No wonder it's doctor recommended. Riopan Plus. We make a science of fast relief. Riopan Plus Liquid. Tablet roll pack also available.
Behind this name, there's a world you may never have known existed before. Not only Whirlpool washers, dryers, and refrigerators, but our latest energy-efficient dishwashers, technically advanced ranges and microwave ovens, convenient trash compactors, freezers, room air conditioners, central heating and cooling systems too. all backed by the Whirlpool promise of good, honest quality. Whirlpool major home appliances, designed to make your world a little easier.
Tonight on Nightline with Ted Koppel, Jesse Jackson and Andrew Young talk about what black voters expect from the Democratic Party and from Walter Mondale.
Finally tonight, a note on baseball. Had you told anyone outside, or for that matter a lot of people inside Chicago at the beginning of this season, that the Chicago Cubs could win the National League East, you might at best have been favored with a sympathetic smile. But it's Cubby fans who are smiling now, although if the Cubs go on to win the pennant, there's a problem. One which no one in Chicago can afford to take lightly. Stone Phillips explains.
The Cubs haven't won a pennant since 1945, but this year they're back. And so are the crowds, who broke the all-time season attendance record at today's doubleheader. The fans are talking World Series, but there's a catch. The series is played at night under the lights, which Wrigley Field doesn't have. And the idea of installing lights here has fans talking sacrilege.
I've come here day ball for 20 years, and I just won't come here at night. It wouldn't seem right to come to Wrigley Field at night.
The Cubs agree with the fans.
I think it would be an insult to all the people that have been loyal and faithful to this organization.
I'm against it, 100% against it. I want to play in the daytime.
The Cubs have played at Wrigley Field since 1916, and always during the day. It's not only the tradition here, it's the law, according to a city ordinance aimed at preserving peace and quiet in the surrounding neighborhood. Plans to put in a portable lighting system, now being considered by Commissioner Bowie Kuhn, has caused a furor in Wrigleyville. Homeowners near the stadium, calling themselves Cubs, Citizens United for Baseball in Sunshine, have vowed to take the commissioner to court to keep the lights out.
The problem is noise pollution, it's crowds, it's the type of people who would be coming at night, it's traffic, it's congestion, it's litter, a myriad of problems which we experience in the daytime and would only be exacerbated at night.
The Cubs and the community have been under pressure to give in because if the team makes the World Series and the games here are played in the daytime instead of prime time, it could cost the league as much as $18 million in television revenues. The loss shared equally among the 26 teams.
They talk about there's a lot of money being lost by the owners. Well, that's too bad. Our game is playing day baseball in Wrigley Field.
Commissioner Kuhn is expected to announce his decision in the next few days. But for the Cubs and their fans, who've waited 39 years to get back on top, the issue is winning. And they don't want anything, including lights at Wrigley Field, to take away their day in the sun. Stone Phillips, ABC News, Chicago.
That's our report on World News tonight. For all of us here at ABC News, I'm Ted Koppel. Good evening.
From ABC, this has been World News Tonight.
Grant Harper seems to have it all.
Sweetheart.
A loving daughter, a devoted wife, and a son who wants too much.
If Grant found out, he'd have a coronary.
Well, I gotta go sometime. Lloyd Bridges is with you, running the family that rules the empire of paper dolls this fall.
Wow, a new chocolate chip cookie. Crispy, chewy, crispy, chewy. Brand new Dunkin' Hines are crispy, chewy. Tastes great like my mom's does. The only one that's so much fun. The only one that tastes like mom's does.
Dunkin' Hines introduces chocolate chip cookies in a bag that taste like Mom's. Here's why. Most packaged store-bought cookies are hard, inside and out. But new Dunkin' Hines are crispy outside, soft and chewy inside, loaded with real chocolate chips.
Crispy